Hi Virgo, welcome to your mid-January reading. So, Mercury has gone retrograde as of today and romance is in the air for you. Now, that can either be wonderful or people want answers you don't have. Either way, you shouldn't be giving them answers. Either you're perfectly sure or you have no idea. Either way, say nothing. When they ask, say you're thinking about it. And you're not lying, you really mean it. You are thinking about it. But you're not ready to move forward. And there could be many reasons that are holding you back. If the reasons are financial, after the 24th, things will start to move again, so don't worry about that. If the reasons are more unknown to you than that, perhaps there's just a general fog that's descended over your decision-making abilities, that will start to dissipate on the 29th. Until then, it's just a lot of confusion, but with lots and lots of love around at the same time. Now, for some people, that would be wonderful because it meant that they could distract themselves with love. But for you, love doesn't stay a distraction for very long. You're so good at loving people that it quickly becomes something else, something they need. There is an opportunity coming up. You will be able to make a big decision. It's probably a love decision. It's you forgiving someone, moving on with someone, or moving away from someone. But it's huge and it defines the next few years of your life. So that's good. You will be at least accepting of one great opportunity to make a life-changing decision. So let the chips fall where they may. Until the 24th, there's not much that can be done. Nothing really moves. Even the romantic stuff, it's there, it's in the ether, but it's like nothing's really happening. 8 of Cups, the High Priestess, and the 7 of Wands. But when we do start to move, when the emotions and the resentments and everything start to dissipate during Mercury retrograde, they're all kind of holding on tight, making you relive them. That's why you can't make a decision right now, no matter how sure you think you are, because Mercury's going to put you through it. Are you sure? Are you sure? Are you sure? Some great sacrifice is the key to your biggest win. Something you really don't want to walk away from. But it disturbs your peace of mind. Doesn't have to be a relationship, doesn't have to be a person. But it's something that you know you can't succeed until you walk away from. There is a level of peace you are able to reach when this thing, person, activity is not a factor in your life. And you love that feeling and you feel like you can do anything when you have that calm. And anyone who becomes an impediment to that calm, well, that's an easy way to make a decision. That's an easy test. So, the money doesn't move until the 29th, but in the meantime, you get a really good idea of where your financial flaws are and how you can remake yourself to be financially a lot more independent and a lot more successful. So, what is it? What's the secret? What am I going to learn? Oh, you're not going to want to hear this, but it has a lot to do with present you taking accountability for future you, which is something that, although everyone thinks you're very responsible and you can see the long game, you can be very short-sighted when it comes to money. And those of you that know that, it doesn't affect your finances so much. And then Ace of Cups, Knight of Cups, Nine of Pentacles, and the World. So love, 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 especially with someone that you deem pretty worthy. Doesn't matter what gender they are, they're coming up as someone who has proven themselves in a way, in a financial way that says a lot about their self-esteem and their commitment level, and it's impressive to you, and you're very receptive to their advances. Yeah, you're not mad at this. You're happy with this. It could be someone from your past that you trust again, or they've proven themselves. It could be someone that you were very recently with, or a relationship that you've both been trying to mend for a while. You see that they are doing what they need to do, and that they are presenting as someone who is capable, someone who has high self-esteem, someone who loves them and knows how to show a Virgo that love by doing. And it's wonderful, and it really does make you feel like the whole world is your oyster, and you know, what a wonderful feeling to feel the support and love of someone who showed up for you, whether it's a lover, a friend. I mean, this month, or not even this month really, but starting on the 24th until mid-February, it really is about romance. This is really the confusion and the prep. Well, it can be prep, but mostly it's confusion. And then you have this Mars energy on top of it, which really wants you to debase yourself and forget what you are. It wants you to give into your most base sensibilities. And I think the reason that Mars wants to do this is because, you know, if that's the case, then that Martian energy is what wins, and it can permeate your life. Because this kind of thinking, slow, receptive, high self-esteem, not destructive at all, in fact, the very opposite, very productive, this doesn't need speed. This doesn't need to prove itself. This doesn't need any added anything. This is a fallacy that needs to be held up by many, many things. So you have, you know, some decisions to make in terms of how you present and who you are, and how do you behave when things are at a standstill and money is not doing what you want it to do, and that can be tied because of work to such a source of pride for you, and therefore such a source of inadequacy and insecurity, right? That door swings both ways. So you may be thinking, but what if I'm looking for a job right now? Okay, you need to first of all do one thing at a time. It's very obvious that there are several things that you want to be bringing to a close. You need to bring things to a close one at a time. And then what I have written here is money. You know, the idea of money, your idea of money, can have real wounds attached to it. And it's important for you at this time. See how these cards just talk? It's important for you at this time to explore what your relationship with money is, because any obstacles that you've been hitting during these retrogrades, or now that Mercury retrograde started, now you may start to feel like these next 10 days, like, any issue that you're encountering is meant to exacerbate those money wounds, so you can find them, so you can heal them. But that really does depend on perspective, and perhaps that's what we should close with. You know, anything that is viewed as a lesson or somehow vital information that needed to be taught, that event is going to be perceived completely different than something that feels like persecution or punishment. So what I was saying was, these money lessons, they can, you know, these money delays can be perceived as lessons, or they can be perceived as a punishment. Depending on how you perceive them, you're going to either learn something and have a step up, or you're going to feel victimized and therefore sour your relationship with money even further. So this idea of your connections and your idea of your connections, and in your head what you think that connection, what their idea of you is. All this overthinking is going on during Mercury retrograde. This is part of why you can't make a decision. This is part of why you're getting into these kind of meta conversations and meta situations. It's all because everyone is trying to figure out what's going on. Everyone's trying to figure out the answers, but because you're so intelligent, I think you've decided that you're going to get into the thing of the thing of the thing of the thing, and maybe there will be an answer there, except all you're doing is you're going deeper and deeper into a maze that has no purpose and no way out and was never built to be solved. This is not a time to solve anything. This is a time to have things be put in front of you that just don't work for you, and it's obvious, and it's put before you with all the relevant evidence. Look, this way of thinking does not work for you. This is what it causes. This is what it produces. This is what it does to your insides. Look, dealing with this person, working with this person, working in this environment, being friends with this person, sleeping with this person, just doesn't work because. And then everything starts to become a cue to how to be better to yourself. Yes? Also, there's something that needs to be wrapped up. Only you can do it. Only you can get it done. I know that's a lot of pressure, but that's what my notes say. If you are determined to take some tests that are pretty serious health-wise, just be careful. Don't freak out if you get an inconclusive test or a result that you're very surprised by. Definitely get a second opinion. Tests can be a little bit strange during retrograde. And then there is this interesting thing that I've written that I'm not sure. It's making a decision. Okay, part of the reason you don't want to make a decision, everyone wants you to make a decision. Making a decision, I really like that I wrote that down because I would have forgotten it. Making a decision brings with it the pressure to lead. So it's almost like Virgos will hold off on making a decision the way kids will pretend to be sick when they have to go to school. Like, you guys don't, you know that as soon as you say what you want, it's a hop, skip, and a jump, not even. It's a hop straight to, okay, well then you take care of it. Well, then you do it. Well, then you're in charge. And I think so maybe subconsciously even, sometimes you guys don't make decisions because you know that everything, as soon as you put your 2 cents in, somehow it's going to become all your responsibility. And you're going to be the only one in the group doing the project, and everyone else is going to take credit for it. So I think that's what's going on in the larger picture, is that all these people, they're trying to connect so deeply with you. You're feeling for them as well. They're starting to think, okay, I could get some answers out of you. And you're like, I'd like to give you an answer. I think I'm ready to give you some sort of answer. And then there's a part of you, that Mercury, that mercurial, wait. And then the retrograde begins and you're like, wait. Are you doing this because you don't want to be responsible for anything? Or are you doing this? Why are you doing this? Let's find out. Let's look at these cards. Love you. Hi, Virgo. All right, let's get into part 2. We're getting into a really dry season. I don't know if you've noticed as I search frantically for my hand cream. Please get yourself some water, just something to drink. It's really, my goodness, it's gotten so dry. Oh, and we stand on this, the cusp of this Aquarius season. And I was thinking, when I was listening back to part 1, about how so much of this is, after January 24th anyway. Until then, it's kind of just confusion and trying to help people with their, if you can, and so few of us are making any sense. And so I was thinking, let's look at this through the lens of February, and then let's look at some of what's under that Six of Wands there. But let's start with that Ace of Wands. So there are many opportunities, many people who would like to move forward with you, or at least give you the option. Perhaps even you would like to ask some people to move forward with you. Now, this can be really jarring for those who have a partner who really wants to move forward and you have one foot out the door. Could be vice versa, but there is potential here for bright new beginnings and really painful endings. But again, this is after the 24th. So until then, it's just a lot of confusion. And really, it's easy to feel like your wires are crossed with everyone. So of course, the advice is pull back. When you can't make sense of black and white, perhaps the most intelligent thing to do is to be residing in the non-dual. When the dual doesn't make any sense, maybe non-duality is the key. And you find it one way or another, kicking and screaming, or you just kind of had a hunch, you end up in this high priestess energy and start to feel really great about not responding to anything. And in that lack of response, in that lack of reactivity, there is a quiet, very strong rebirth. So many of you just are not turned on by the same things that you were before. And this is part of that, leaving those cups behind up there. So many of you, up until a couple of days ago, knew exactly what you liked and exactly how you like it. And now, wow, those things are boring. What happened? Well, most probably, there is this evolution going on quietly inside you. It's unbeknownst to you. And it's been working diligently on producing the kind of internal life that will give you these 10 of Wands, 10 of Pentacles results that you want. There has been a quiet rebuilding going on. And that rebuilding looks a lot like this. So, in this past 2 weeks, the clanging and dropping of heavy objects and drilling and hammering that's been going on inside your head makes a lot of sense. It's new scaffolding. It's a new structure. It's a new you. Not much different from the old you, just much more receptive to love. Venus retrograde here showing up masterfully, opening up the world to you. For so many, Venus retrograde is not pleasant. But for those of us ruled by Mercury, we seem to be having a good time with it. It's giving us that softness that we can lack. You know what I mean? It's giving us a little bit of room to learn its ways instead of having to keep pace with it. It has slowed down and we have been able to catch up, and it has remained at a slow pace, and we have been able to learn from it slowly. And what does that Venusian intelligence bring you, especially as we move into February? The world. February for you opens so many doors. It's not just a time that we associate with romance because of Valentine's Day. It truly is for you a time of great romance. And how you are and how you dress and where you go and what you eat and what you see and how you feel inside. It's all very romantic. And it's about time, because you've done all the hard work. You've been harsh. You've been restrictive. You've made people, have to live up to their potential. Yeah, it makes sense that now it's time to enjoy it a little bit, right? That's what Venus retrograde is teaching you. And there is no real way to put words on that until after you know it.
The ineffable, right? But we start to see the results. Second week of February, Knight of Cups, Ace of Cups. Who could have planned this better? How sweet. All this love, all this attention, but just be careful. Don't let it get your ego in a, in a frenzy. Just stop before you get ahead of yourself. That's always the thing that you have to remind Virgos. You're so perfect until you think you're too perfect. And it just right. Okay, let me put it to you this way. In the middle of February, when everything is going the way you want it to go and you feel like you're on top of the world and you're about to take that one step or say that one thing or wear that one thing or go to that one place that you know is going to be taking it too far, listen to me. When you know it, you know what I'm talking about too. You always know. Don't do it. Don't, just please discipline yourself in that moment to be like, I am not going to make trouble for myself. Because that's always what it ends up being. That's what you have to realize. I'll stop. I'm just saying. Whenever you make trouble, it's only for yourself. It never ends up being trouble for anyone else. How is it going to be trouble for anyone else when you're the most sensitive person in the room? Not even Pisceans are as sensitive as you, because at least they get it out. Yeah, it's a steady stream of emotion, but it's, easy come, easy go. With you guys, it's like you have the feelings of a Pisces, but you're never going to let anything out. So it just accumulates and accumulates, and it picks up that, famous earth sign resentment. Add to that famous mutable sign evasiveness, and you've got this hotbed, of unacknowledged, unresolved feelings and emotions. And yeah, they do sometimes trigger you when you're in a really great situation by appealing to your vanity and your ego to make you go too far, so you'll be miserable again. So check yourself, because that part of you does not want you to be happy. That's what I'm telling you. That part of you, let me tell you something very real, okay? You guys are gonna get so bad. Listen, a bunch of water just dropped all over your notes. Look at that. Listen, you know that side of you that you think is super rebellious and really important, and you think is who you are? Just no, it's not. It's not. It's that's your ego's way of really making sure to keep you isolated, because your ego understands that if you're not isolated, then it can't thrive. If a Virgo is not isolated and has healthy connections, then their ego, it just kind of dissipates, because their connections keep them humble and they love their connections and their connections love them, and it creates a really great sense of environment and community around them, and the ego cannot survive there. But if the ego is able to make you go too far, appeal to your pride, appeal to your inherent sense of superiority, let's say, then yeah, it can easily tempt you into going too far and alienating yourself from people who would like to love you or are trying to love you or are offering their love to you, thus putting you in a situation that's very lonely. And then, and then the ego is just fine, because it's like a jealous lover, then it has you to itself. And the Emperor and the Three of Cups doing a wonderful job of illustrating that there. And then the Empress, reminding you all throughout February, the way to really diffuse that temptation, the way to always, always be sure that you don't go too far. I mean, first of all, you can just ask any Virgo moon. We don't have that same attachment to the ego that you do. But the way to never, ever go too far is to always remember who you are. The Empress doesn't have to say too much. The Empress doesn't have to say that one extra thing. The Empress doesn't have to wear that one thing or go to that one place or pick that one fight or be petty about that thing. The Empress is above all of that. And the more you live in that energy for real, instead of it being some vague idea in your head that's unacknowledged that your ego can go and tempt very easily and turn into a monster, right? Because you think that if you don't acknowledge that feeling, then somehow you're being humble, and that's going to keep you humble, but that's not the way. The way is to acknowledge that there is a method to being superior. And that method is not through some inherent belief that's held really for no reason that you just happen to be. No, it's something that you can cultivate in yourself. Your superiority has nothing to do with who you are, where you're from, how you look, how much you make, what you wear. It has to do with your ikhlaq. It has to do with your behavior, your manners. And it's not that it necessarily makes you superior to others, but it does put you in a completely different league. Let's say that. It sets you apart. And part of having good ikhlaq, good manners, is never going too far. It's never saying too much. It's never self-aggrandizing. It's never ingratiating. It's never looking for compliments. It's never looking for approval or affirmation. And as long as you can stay out of that one trap, everything else is working in your favor. But that temptation can be so strong, especially in February when everything seems to be going your way. That's the thing about you guys. When things aren't going your way, studious, organized, working hard, humble, don't have time to be petty about nothing. As soon as things start to go well and you have a little free time, what happens? You can laugh if you want to, or you can roll your eyes, but I'm just asking, what happens? What happens to that studious, diligent, steadfast person who knows they got to dig themselves out of a hole? It seems like as soon as you dig yourself out of a hole, you're trying to find a way to dig a new one. Spend some time on the surface. Hang out a little while. It's nice up here. It's sunny. And especially if you're just digging holes for no reason. Again, that rebellious streak that you guys think defines you. It's like the most vanilla sentiment. It does not define you. All it does is cause you problems. It does not define you at all. What defines you and what has always defined you is your heart, your intuition, your heart instinct. You are the masters of the heart mind. People can say whatever they want. It's because they don't understand you. The Gemini is the mind. And the Virgo is the heart mind. You don't need their approval, not because you're better than them, but because your job is such that you are naturally in a position of power. You are here to understand and to heal and to intuit with your heart mind what it is that people need for their healing. You are not someone who can afford to have these kind of egoic missteps. Is that fair? No, of course not. Does that make you want to just smash everything and be reckless and go have fun? Of course it does. But you're not going to do that. You're going to sail through the rest of January and the rest of February. You're going to ride high on this Empress energy. And as everything starts to move, inshallah, at the end of the month, and as everything moves like a rushing river through February, you will not just stay afloat, you will be fabulous. You will look fabulous. Refer to part 1. And you will allow all these love interests, all these advances, even all these temptations. But not one of these things, no matter how much you want it or how great it seems or how great it makes you feel, will in any way shake you. Not upward or downward will you spiral when it comes to your self-image and your self-worth. Because we may be back to the rodeo, but we got a whole new set of tricks. Okay? Good? Good. I'll see you in the extended. I love you, love you. All the links are below. Readings, rings, everything. Live readings for Lunar New Year, February 1st. It's all below.